Yes, team members, you can start.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Sakti. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Good evening. Is my voice audible and clear enough?
Yes, sir. It is audible and clear, sir.
My voice echoes. Okay.
Yes, sir. It is clear, sir.
Yeah, it's clear. Thank you, sir. Now I am all yours. All yours.
Okay, sir. We shall begin the session, sir.
Just a minute, Sakti, just a minute. Because it seems
Yes, sir.
there is an echo in my mic. Just a minute.
Okay.
There is an echo. There is an echo, sir.
Yeah. Vincent, sir. Good evening, sir. Vincent, sir. There is an echo in my mic. Now do you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
Yeah, so let me utter a sentence, a long sentence. Yeah, again there is an echo. Yeah. Do you hear the same echo, Sakti?
No, sir. I couldn't hear. I mean, I'm not hearing any echo, sir. Maybe maybe when I switch it off my microphone, you won't hear that.
Maybe. Yes. Sure. Yeah. That's the reason. Now, is it all right? Yeah, you can start. I'm all yours.
Okay, sir. Yes, team members, you can start your session. Please start.
Good evening to one and all connected here. We welcome you to the Design Thinking Workshop on Theatre for Personality Development conducted by the Department of English, unaided in collaboration with the Institution's Innovation Council. I am Vishmita from 2nd BA English. And I'm Nivedita from 1st BA English, and we'll be your host for today's event. Now, I call upon Judith from 2nd BA English to deliver the welcome address.
Good evening to one and all present here. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome everyone present in this meet. Now I would like to extend a very warm welcome to our Honorable Principal, Dr. D. Brinda, our Secretary, Dr. T. Kanayan. I also extend a warm welcome to the Vice Principals. I welcome our dedicated HOD, Dr. B. Bharati. I also take this moment to welcome the staff coordinators, without whose great efforts this event would not have been possible. Next, I welcome the staff who inspire us every day, and of course, the student coordinators. Last but not least, I welcome all the students and onlookers of this event. On behalf of the English department and our respected dignitaries, I deem it an honor to welcome our chief guest of the day, Professor N. Elango. Welcome, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Judith. Now, I call upon Dakshita from 3rd BA English to introduce the guest speaker for today.
If one takes a closer look at the alchemy of the achieving person, distinct virtues pop up. Besides perseverance and hard work, these are pioneering spirit and willingness. I'm extending a gracious and inclusive welcome to our speaker for today, Mr. N. Elango, retired Associate Professor and Head, Postgraduate Department of English, the American College, Madurai. A man rich in his experience of teaching for over 31 years in 9 months, he wields an efficient hand in the field of drama and media. He is the founder of the Fourth Wall Theatre, a magnanimous on-campus academic theatre that stages brilliant plays for a span of 6 days for an audience of over 5,000 people from educational institutions across the state. He has created the ideal platform for developing English speech practices, effective communication, time and stress management, set designing, costume and makeup. He is the official translator of the transgender and social activist Kalki Subramanian's poems, which have been published in the international journal Kavya Bharati. He has authored the book Film Appreciation for Beginners and has also conducted a multitude of workshops on drama, cinema, literary theories, and culture and myth. It is an honor to have you amidst us, sir, and I extend my most gracious welcome to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dakshita. Now, I invite our chief guest of this evening, Professor N. Elango, to take over this session. Please, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. It gives me immense pleasure to be with you, especially the post-pandemic. I cannot call it post-pandemic because still there is an air of angst around all over India. At the same time, what I would like to do is how humanity has carried itself so nobly during the pandemic period. You see, that is really surprising. And this session certainly should be the finest moment to talk about the things which I have in my mind, especially the topic you have given to me, personality development, you see. So at the very outset, the premises of my talk today would be on the assumption that personality can be developed. You see, do you see my screen now? Can someone respond to me? Do you see my screen now? Am I sharing the screen?
No, sir.
No problem. I'll get you. I'll check. No problem. Absolutely no problem. Do you see it now?
Yes,
see
sir.
it now?
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you so much. So, at the very outset, my exposition today, my interaction and conversation with you today is based on the premises that personality can be developed. When I say personality can be developed, it automatically is a reaction against the popular notion, the traditional conventional notion that personality cannot be developed. தாயைப் போல் பிள்ளை, நூலைப் போல் சேலை. You see, positively speaking, the parental impact, the inherited aspects, the genetic factors, these scientific premises are equally strong to argue against the possibility of personality development. So, even if someone tries to come up, you see, he is always snubbed down, or those who encourage somebody to come up are always discouraged by such crude expressions like Nai Kulipati Nadivitila Vechamari. You see, do not scatter pearls before swines, as if some people are born swines. Of course, this kind of archetypes we all have in our mind, in our anthropological system, because right from the childhood, some of us are very acerbic. You see the character, the queen in the cartoon, you see. The cartoon, what's that? You see, in the cartoon, Wizard of the Oz, the coward lion is there. Alice in the wonder, the Alice in the mirror, Alice in the wonder glass. The queen is there. The red queen is there, you see. And you have the contemplative, what shall I say, the introvert, Hamlet is there. And the coward lion from Wizard of the Oz is there. And the sanguine character, Mr. Thomas from Narnia, is there. So we have these archetypes set in our mind, whether it is literature or sociology or anthropology. We have these archetypes fixed in our mind. You see, we not only talk about parental impacts, genetic factors, and other things, inherited aspects. We do not talk only about them. We also talk about socio-economic factors which have shaped, molded, hardwired a human personality, which cannot be changed, even if at the outset it seems to have changed at one moment, some moment, when the superego is not in its God, in its defense, the true personality within quotes. You see, the true personality comes out. This is what we are made to believe. Very wrong. My argument today is going to be equally scientific, even more scientific, more authentic than the scientific explorations which the treatises which have given this notion to you that human personality is fixed, quintessential personality does never change. Now I have this great book, you see, David Eagleman. David Eagleman is a neuroscientist, you see. He has written an excellent book, you see. The book is titled as The Brain, the Story of You, as you see in the slide. He proves beyond doubt, scientifically, he proves his voice is what you call in mass media the voice of the testimonial. You see, the voice of the testimonial. He says human brain is live wired, not hardwired. He argues, you see, he argues further by saying, you see this, you see the book in my hand, you see, it is now an acclaimed BBC TV series. You see, it is now being televised. It's now an acclaimed BBC TV series. You see, the book has sold millions of copies. You see, millions of copies. You see, here, David Eagleman points out an important factor. He says birds, animals, for example, if you put a fish on land, or if you throw a deer into water, you see, if you bring an Arctic animal into a desert place, what happens? They are not able to survive, they die. Whereas human being, wherever you place human beings adapt themselves to their environment because their brain is not hardwired. Their brain is live wired. They keep on changing. The research he has done so well established in that book. So this is the bottom line of my interaction with you, my conversation with you. And the other person you have on the slide, I have given on the slide, is Nathan Hudson. This person, contemporary psychologist, he has taken 7,000 plus case studies. You know how these people would do their case studies? They will not just select these 7,000 people and conduct a test and derive a statement. These people would time and again visit. There is a speculative period during which time and again they would go to these people, you see, and the 7,000 plus cases would be studied and reviewed. By the end of these studies, Hudson has proved that personality can be developed. And as Dale Carnegie tells in his $1 million book, you see, the book which has sold 15,100 copies. The 15,100 copies this book has sold. How to win friends and influence people. You see, all-time gold. Old is gold. You see, it's an old book. And what does he say? Carnegie also says that truth, you see, has to be made vivid, interesting, and dramatic. So you have to dramatize your ideas. You have to demonstrate your being, your self, your identity, you see, your personality. So in that sense, I would like to start my speech with these three ideas, you see. In theater, you have the possibility of all these personality development aspects readily available because, my friends, the very name Brahm, what is the meaning of the word? What is the etymology of the term drama? Drama has come from the old French, old Anglo-Saxon word dram. Dram is basically a verb. You see, dram is basically a verb. You see, you will understand what dram means by the end of this session. You see, an actor, an actor uses his mind, body, voice, and space. You see, so the first thing, as Stephen Covey would have told us, you see, Stephen Covey would tell us that in his 8th habit, the latest book, Stephen Covey, after having written 7 habits, he writes the 8th habit. He says, if you do something regularly, after a certain period, that becomes your habit. And your habit becomes your manners. Your manners become your characters. Your characters become your virtue. And like the contagious negative forces, good habits, good virtues are also contagious. Those who have visited Madurai Aravind Eye Hospital would have experienced it firsthand. What do I mean by that? You see, if you enter Madurai Aravind Hospital, from the parking lot to the surgeon, to the MD, all of them will behave so politely, so systematically, so positively, you see, because of the basic principle in there. Those who have studied, those who have worked in my team, in my theater team, would understand what I am telling you now. I'll tell you, I never jump into exercise or rehearsal. For if my practice session goes for some 40 to 45 days, we rehearse for 40 to 45 days. Even on 26th and 27th, one of my students, and later he became National School of Drama graduate, Thirumalai, collaborating with Sthai Theatre Group. Sthai Theatre Group is staging Grish Karnad's Hayavadana in Tamil, you see. And I had an interaction with them last week in order to share our ideas, since we have in Fourth Wall staged Hayavadana with the interval of nearly 20 years, you see. And so they asked for my opinion about staging Hayavadana, and we shared it, you see. I told him, you see, first, we don't jump into exercises. That is how my workshops are also. We don't jump into exercises, practice session and all. For a good time, for a considerable time, you see, we always discuss the script. we get into the character. We try to understand the character. Your professor Sakti knows how we do it in 4th Ward. So you have to get into the character. Stephen Covey says it is a virtue. Your good habit, your good character will be infectious. You see, in theater that happens, especially in this world, which has been today's society, where in which the major issue is disconnectedness and anomie. I would like to address the senior students and teachers here. This is the major thing we have to focus upon. What is it? You see, disconnectedness. We have such gadgets, digital gadgets, virtual reality, you see, online platforms, but in fact, we are disconnected. So this disconnectedness from everyday reality, from our fellow human beings, you see today something which we would have never imagined. 5 or 6 friends sitting together, or a family inside a restaurant. What do? All of them have their heads bowed onto their mobile phone. This would have never happened in my young days. Professor Dr. Vincent Sir would have found it nightmarish to see that. You see, mobile talai kuniyalgal. Mobile talai kuniyalgal. Poet Ravi Subramaniam says, சிலர் அலைபேசி தலை குனியல்கள் நிமிர்ந்து விட்டு மீண்டும் தலையை கவிழ்த்து கொண்டன. You see, மீண்டும் தலையை கவிழ்த்து கொண்டன. Ravi Subramaniam says, like that, you see, like that. Here is an issue. Because, you see, disconnectedness and anomie. What is anomie? Ask a social psychologist. A-N-O-M-I-E. It can also be spelled as A-N-O-M-Y. You see, both spellings are. Anomie means loss of values and not having an alternative value to lean upon. What happened during 19th century American literature or to the American civilization? How people wandered around, you see, wandered around looking for values to lean upon, to support themselves with, you see. Whereas in theater, it doesn't happen. In theater, humanity is elevated. Hamlet says, what is Hecuba to him or he to Hecuba? Because we create an emotional memory, empathy through emotional memory. For example, Hamlet is the one who finds the world as an unweeded garden. Unweeded garden. களையெடுக்கபடாத தோட்டம், where all people live disconnectedly, not having any human emotion towards each other, one another. Even his mother, as Hamlet says, why she, even his mother is not able to feed for his father. She has married his uncle, and Hamlet cannot. Even though he is 25 years old, the son cannot digest the fact his mother, who has lived with his father, someone like Hyperion, the sun god, now can live with his uncle, who is like a satyr, S-A-T-Y-R. Satyr is a monstrous wood nymph which has a goat's head, human body, you see, human body, bugle in her hand, you see. So it stands for incest, ingratiable, incestuous desire. Hamlet is unable to understand, how can my mother, who followed my father to grave in all tears like Niobe, now within a month, nay, not even a month, he says, has married my uncle. But when he sees the players coming, he requests the chief player to perform one of his favorite passages. So the chief player plays the role of Priam, and Priam mourning for the death of his wife, Hecuba. When he says Priam, the actor who is doing the role of Priam, feeling so one with his wife, he says, what is Hecuba to him or he to Hecuba? He is an actor, bloody actor, who is twice removed from reality. You see, how can he feel so much for Hecuba through Priam? You see, so a theatrical experience can basically elevate your mind. You see, the most important thing about personality development is the evolution from being an introvert to attain extraversion. You see, that is the most important thing about personality development. Whether you have a puffed up personality or you are an introvert, you are shy and timid, what you should have is you have to come out of this introversion and seek and attain extraversion. That is possible only in theater. In theater, you ask many questions. You see, not just the physical appearance of the character or just the social background of the character. You also ask about the psychological state, what rather you can call as spiritual state. I don't mean religion here. What I mean is spiritual state of the character. Is this character sympathetic character or unsympathetic character? If this character belongs to good group, the group of good people, how to individualize this character? You see, grouping and individuation. So slowly you get into the character. The other day, an exponent in acting shared with us during a workshop on acting and direction. She shared with us that when she found a character impenetrable, sometimes some characters like Bozola, like Cleopatra, like Iago, these characters, Bozola from John Webster's Duchess of Malfi, you see, Iago from Shakespeare's Othello. You have a scene from here, Othello on the slide. See the way in which the actor has trained his body, you see, to feel. He almost gets quaint eyes, you see. So when you are not able to get into a character, you have to get into a character first to represent that character honestly, genuinely on stage. So when you are not able to get into a character, then the exponent suggested, ask finally one question. What's that question? The question is, so long you would have been asking what the character does. Now ask the question, what the character will never do. You see, under no circumstance this character will not do this. You see, ask the character as a final attempt, then naturally you will get into the character. So somehow the director, the voice trainer, the set designer, the musician help you attain this emotional memory. Like Dustin Hoffman, remembering his father when he did the role of Willy Loman. When he did the role of Willy Loman, Dustin Hoffman was not as old as Willy Loman, but he could adopt a nasal voice. And after the performance was over, one of his friends rushed to the green room and asked Dustin Hoffman, why was he speaking nasally like an old man? Dustin Hoffman said, I was in a baritone voice. That is his voice, original voice. In the baritone voice, Dustin Hoffman answered that he was actually imitating his father's voice. He was actually imitating his father's voice. You see, you get that mimesis. You learn the art of mimesis. You see, you learn the art of mimesis in theater. So Dustin Hoffman could imitate the voice of Willie Loman. And in Tennessee Williams's A Streetcar Named Desire, when Dubois Blanche's role was done by really a famous actress, you see, she was a superstar then. Marlon Brando was shot to stardom after doing the role of Stanley Kowalski in A Streetcar Named Desire. This actress was already a star. You see, Lee, this Lee, Leigh. And what did she do? She did exactly, she brought the character of Dubois Blanche alive on stage. Even the director was not able to decode. She let the actress perform during the rehearsals and take notes, and later on asked the actress, reminded the actress that she was doing all these things in those scenes, you see, and she asked her to remember those moves, those tonalities, those expressions, those body language, because they were so effectively communicating. After the performance was over, the stage performance was over, the reporters, the media people, the theater critics were taken aback, see, by her stunning performance. She had brought Dubois Blanche alive on stage. You see, not being able to control his admiration, one of the famous critics asked her, "How did you do that?" For which Dubois Blanche said that she was using a perfume which her demised friend would use. So this perfume brought the memory of her friend back to her. So she grew melancholic. She could do the role, represent Dubois Blanche so well in its complexities. You see, this will happen on stage. If you get theatrical training, then you will represent any character. What is important here, you see, is you should know how to listen. You should know how to listen, you see, which we do not generally do. You see, in voice practice, it is not enough if you just refine your voice into various tonalities. It is not enough. You will know the art of listening. Unless you know the art of listening, you see, there are many levels of listening. For example, there are certain modes which are called, you call them physical listening. For example, my voice must be heard first. If you ask a question, I must hear your question. Physical listening. Then comprehensive listening. I should understand the meaning of the words uttered, at least the denotative meanings, the intelligent meanings, denotative meanings, comprehensive listening. And after comprehensive listening, critical listening. You see, what is the connotative meaning of the utterance? Then active listening. What is your response? You see, in our theater, we don't just leave the actors with the last line or of the dialogue spoken by other characters. We give the entire script. Every day, they sit around and do reading. You see, we don't jump into acting. They sit around after the discussion on the play and the characters are over. Of course, you don't have any set pattern that this must be done on stage and you should not move beyond that or come down to this. No. We don't do that. If something, theater is a live experience. Theater is a live experience. If you want to improve your personality, you must be spontaneous. You must be flexible. You must be adaptable. You see, you must be capable of adapting yourself to situation. In personality development classes, they use the diagram A to reach to A, B to reach to B, and C to reach C, but their views, their ways should not cross. They are arranged in a square section, you see. And how can they be adaptable? How can they be reflexible? That must be practiced to become a theater artist, you see. It is imperative because stage movements, stage trafficking is very important. You should not stay on stage cluttered. We should know how to manage our space, you see. As we say, the proxemics and kinesics, you see, the proxemics and the kinesics, like mimesis, proxemics, you see, bodily position. What is the relationship between your body and the body of the others? How should you cross your legs? How should you keep your hands? And kinesics, spatial management. So this is very important. A theater artist must be spontaneous. Even after having rehearsed for 100 times, you have to create the illusion of the first time. Illusion of the first time. You should not speak by rote. You should speak naturally. You should move naturally. This is very important, you see. You see, since the slide is what you are seeing, I have to articulate my voice. I have to substitute my voice for my person. But here I am actually making hand movements. But you don't see my hand movements. But my hand movements are important for me to bring out my voice effectively. Or my legs, even though my legs are covered by the table, the way in which I keep my legs, for example, wide, not wide apart from each other to the measurements of my shoulder. You see, that is the fixed position. That is a good position. The position will give you confidence. The confidence, the mind will respond through the body, and the body will respond to the mind. You see, so how to carry your body, how to give your eyes, eye contact, all these things happen on stage, you see. So acting provides you extraversion, trains you in the art of attaining extraversion and being spontaneous, you see. So, in fact, this quote is my favorite quote, you see. This is from Balarama Bhagavatam. I can now see my friend Sakti smiling, because I cannot do without this. Whichever drama class I start with, I begin with this idea. Artha Kriya Karittuvam Bharattuvam. What is Bharattuvam? What is the philosophy of acting? You have to create meaning, you have to execute meaningful acting. You have to execute meaningful actions. At the same time, you have to attribute meaning to your actions. You see? Do you understand? Think about this for a while. Artha, Kriya, Karittuvam, Bharattuvam. Artha, meaning. Kriya, make. Karittuvam, action. The three key words. Attribute meaning to your actions and execute meaningful actions. For example, if you keep your arms open, if you look straight into the eyes of people at the forehead level, you see, then that is a social gaze. If you look away from others, you see, that means something else. So theater trains you how to use your body. For example, while I am inside a classroom, if the students do not have eye contact with me, you see, I close down, I minimize the PPT, and I want to communicate with my person, with my visual. You see, because if you do not have eye contact, then it has to be substituted as in the case of radio drama. So eye contact is very important. You see, experts say in human relationships, in personality development, experts say that it is not enough if you listen with your ears. You have to listen with your eyes and your whole being. For example, steeple and cross. What is steeple? What is cross here? Steeple and cross are good for church, but steeple is keeping your fingers like this. You see, do you see my visual there? Keeping your fingers like this, like a steeple. If you keep your fingers in the steeple posture before your face, the person who tries to communicate with you gets the idea. You see, you may not or you may or may not mean it. You see, between body and mind, there is a reciprocatory functioning, dynamics is going on. You see, so I don't say, see, sometimes when I scratch my head, I may be confused. I am betrayed that I am confused, but I can even be misunderstood. If there is a tick in my head, then if I scratch it, the other person may think that I am confused. Or if I hear a noise and I look away, or if someone is approaching and I am looking at that person there, then the other person may think that I am not interested in her conversation. You see, so sometimes there will be incongruities in communication. That is why theatre asks you to practice communication deliberately. You see, so it is not enough if you listen with your ears. You see, cross means crossing your hand in front of your chest, crossing your hand in front of your chest. If you sit like this, the person in front of you would think that you are very defensive. You are very defensive. So you have to listen with your whole body. You see, you have to listen. It is with your eyes. Your eyes should tell. Most of the people want to communicate with others, not because the other person is going to solve the problems. Never imagine like that. You see, are we gods? Are we gods to solve all the problems? No. Don't have that misconception. The person who comes to you to share his problem or her problem, you see, don't think the person thinks so high of you. The person believes that you have concern for them. So what the person wants to do is to share the problem, share their mind with you. You and I are not expected to solve every problem. If we can, we will do it. But even the other person, even the one who comes to share the problem doesn't have that misconception. So it is listening not only with your eyes, but not only with your ears, but with your eyes and your whole being. And in conversation, in discourse, in relationships, you see, many people listen to the words to answer and argue. You see, we should listen to the words to understand the speaker. You see, am I making myself clear? We should listen to the speaker. In theatre, we have meticulous training for this. For example, we try to understand the speaker even when the speaker is talking about someone else. We understand the speaker by the words the speaker utters. Do you understand? So you want to understand what the other person. You are not being critical about that. Never be critical about the other person. Never be opinionated or judgmental. That would be the first thing to spoil relationships. You see, you show your concern, what I say, empathy, the readiness to listen to the other person. You see, that is very important. This training is the basic training in a theater. You see, so what do we do? You see, Bhavananubhavam Bharadatuvam. You imagine the experience of the other person. You imagine the feelings and emotions of the other person. You imagine the trajectory of other person's thought. You imagine, you visualize the character in your mind. You see, of course, there are two styles of acting. We don't have time to go into that since our focus is on personality development. You see, we are not going into that. The professional theater acting, we are not going to that. That belongs to some other area. But what are the components in theater? You see, Jerry Grotowski. If I say Jerry Grotowski, you may not be able to connect him with. Most of you might not be able to connect yourselves with the name Jerry Grotowski, a great theater artist and a drama teacher. You see. But you know Joaquin Phoenix, you see, the one who represented Joker's character so beautifully from a different viewpoint recently by the film with the same title, Joker. You see, the way in which Joaquin Phoenix acted reminded me of what Jerry Grotowski says. Jerry Grotowski would ask his actors to try the various possibilities of reflexing, moving your muscles and your limbs. You see, your muscles and your limbs. Body plays a very important role. Since you are all young people, I ask you this question: what is wrong in being beautiful, handsome, and healthy? You see, you should exercise. Simple exercises you should follow every day. Since it is a workshop here, all of you try that, at least back at home. After this session is over, try something very simple like, you see, can you touch your fingers, placing them over the shoulder and by your back? You see, can you join these fingers? And if you get up and stand, you see, stand against a wall, stand leaning on a wall, you see, you are back to the wall. Can you slip your hand through your waist, your back? You see, can you do that? Do you feel the arch there? The first training in acting is don't laugh, how to stand, how to sit. You see, because many of us do not know how to stand. We always train our legs. Each and every posture has a meaning. You see, it will not only communicate a meaning to the audience, it will also create an impact in your mind. You see, if you want to be brave, if you want to be honest, you should look people into their eyes and you should have your shoulders wide apart. You see, and you should be open. These are very simple things to say, to tell the other person that you are ready to be communicated. You see, we open our arms and say, welcome. You see, we say, lift our eyebrows and say, welcome. You see, these are simple postures. Like that, do the stretching exercises. Check if you can keep your finger straight, you see, straight, and follow your finger to the back, you see, and come back, come to the original position. If you can arch your body sideways and backwards, you have to do it. I can do all these things even though I am 60. If you do that, if you make these things, as Stephen Covey says, as habits, morning, doing certain stretches, you see, then you will be beautiful, you will be agile, your muscles, agility. You will have quick reflexes. Then you will appear strong, healthy, and handsome and pretty. You will be beautiful. What is wrong in being beautiful? You see, that's what I tell my students. I ask my students not to go for oily foods, drink water, wake up early in the morning, do some exercise. You see, this will keep you healthy. You see, when you go to the theater, you have to be there for 2 hours or 2.5 hours. Sometimes, you see, we practice well through the night. You see, not present. Those people in Coimbatore whom I mentioned would have been practicing now for hours together. You see, to do a role, you see, with such passion of the absurd. So Jerry Grotowski would ask his students to try to stretch their bodies, you see, but carefully, without hurting them. The moment you feel the pain, you stop. You feel stop. What I am telling you is very simple. For example, for the voice practice, what do you have to do? You just say ah and keep on saying ah. When you say ah. When the time goes, you should not be a long vowel. You should not go down or up. You see, you should be keeping your voice at a decibel. How long you can keep it? That is important. You see, how you can articulate your voice. You see, how you can articulate your voice. For example, many of us do not know how to handle our voice. We shout unnecessarily. At least I find it so in Madurai. You see, I find it so in Madurai. You see, we shout, we mumble. Why can't we choose a voice, choose a decibel, which would have the right pronunciation, intonation, fall and rise, resonance? The other day in a webinar, the teacher was giving me the question. The teacher had a very good voice. I did not want to hurt her feelings. So I said, your voice is good, ma'am, but my hearing is bad. In fact, I have hearing problem. So to encourage her, to cajole her, I said, but the problem with her was that she was not stressing on the key words. You should know how you should use your voice in interface communication. For example, in offline classes. In offline classes, the teacher can see you. The teacher can read your lips. The teacher can see your face. Whereas in virtual meeting, you may not be always in the perspective. Your voice is everything. On stage, the perspective which the person who is seated in the first row may not be the same as the perspective which the person who is seated in the last row has. So your voice is the key there. Your voice should perform. Your dialogue should perform. You see, of course, you have some stylized moves, but still your pronunciation, your intonation, your resonance, the emotion in your voice, the pitching, where to stress. For example, in poetry, you say, once upon a midnight rally, or presume not God to scan. If you want to train your voice, read Shakespearean dialogues, because Shakespeare would have the punctuation marks. You follow the punctuation marks, not the lines. Don't stop at the end of the line unless there is a full stop. If there is no punctuation mark at the end of the full stop, it is a run-on line. So you have to speak without giving breath. You see, you should not stop there. You should not pause there. Shakespeare would use words in such a way. For example, listen to the dialogue of Othello in the bedchamber scene, or when he is tempted by Iago. You see, the run-on lines, the stops, the semicolons, colons. Don't ask me, did Shakespeare do all these things or the editors did it? Shakespeare may not have done this punctuation mark. The way in which he has handled the iambic pentameter and the lines, the arrangement of lines, definitely tells us that Shakespeare has trained his actor to utter his dialogues the way in which he has written them. You see, You see, there is a passage there is a comment in the Midsummer Night's Dream where the Duke tells, seeing Bottom Company giving an impromptu performance, he says he doesn't know his stops. He doesn't know his stops, where to stop. Instead of asking Sukku, Milagu, Tippili, he says Sukkumi, Lagadi, Yippili. What is the point? What's the point? This fellow does not know his stops. I will take 5 more minutes and let you ask questions. Let you ask. So Shakespearean passages are very important for an actor who trains himself in voice. And your voice is very important to your personality, because voice is the primary communication mode, verbal, non-verbal communication, you see. So your voice, if your voice is, you see, I have authenticity to speak about this, not only because I am a theater man, I am a theater lover, I am a drama lover. I have worked with almost 200 visually challenged aspiring actors during a film production. The film did not come, but the training was very helpful. You see, those people judge, those people visualize. You see, those people visualize the person by the voice. Voice does not mean whether it is alto or bass or treble or baritone or nasal or guttural. Not only that, the voice is the delivery squeaky, or is there a flow, or is there too much of stuttering or drooling. Those people visualize the speaker. The visually challenged people visualize them in their mind, like an actor pre-visualizing the character he wants to do. You see, you can do the character in any way you would like to. You may not have the authority over the character, but as an actor, trained actor, you can do the character any way you would like to, by using the proper voice, by choosing the voice. So, pitching and pacing and projection. If I am speaking through a mic, why should I shout? Since I am an old timer, I shout. Now I can speak in a crispy voice. I can modulate my voice, and still I will be communicating. On stage, this training is imperative, my friends. Remember, you see, on stage, what happens? There are microphones, hidden mics, or there are some auditoriums which do not need a sound system at all. The Philharmonic Orchestra auditoriums, they don't need mics at all, sound system at all. The voice would reach the last row as it is heard by the person who is occupying the front row, the first row. On stage like us, in Coimbatore or in Madurai, which in college auditoriums. I don't belittle college auditoriums. I can talk about my auditorium. American College Auditorium is one of the worst auditoriums in all the world. Though that auditorium was opened by Shivaji Ganesan, it is a pity that the auditorium never got renovated. You see, but we staged for us classics. You see, on the stage, we used hidden mics. In the hidden mic, when you speak, the voice is going to travel through the sound box to the last row. So only by modulating my voice, by adapting the resonance, I am speaking to the mic. But when I give an aside, I should pretend that the other person is not hearing it. Am I right? Or when I speak a secret, share a secret with my fellow actor, I should whisper within quotes. How can I whisper? I'm speaking into the mic. So the voice modulation, not just the decibel. When you speak kind to this, remember how you will speak to a child, how you will speak to your pet animal. You see, it is pet all right. But when you give it an order, what will be the change in your order? What will be the change in your voice? What will be the change in your resonance? You are not really angry with your pet animal, but you want it to understand, think that you are angry. So you say, no, you see, but you are not angry. To a child, you say, mommy is going to hit you. You see, mommy is going to hit you. Wait, I'll tell dad. You see, the name of the father, the father, authority, no more. In those days, psychology calls it name of the father. It can even be the name of the mother or name of the government, name of the church, name of the temple, name of the teacher, the voice of the authority. How you adopt the voice of the authority. So it is performance. You are not faking. In fact, I did not want to quote that line in the slide. Nathan says, you see, the psychologist, the personality development psychology, you see, Nathan, the researcher, you see, you have his speech in the TEDx. You can refer to that for authenticity. I am not spindling my yarn. You see, for authenticity, you can go to YouTube and check it out. You see, Nathan Hudson says that fake it until you make it. Fake it until you make it. Fake it until you make it. What does he mean by fake it until you make it? You have to visualize yourself as what you aspire to be. Am I making myself clear? You have to visualize yourself. You see, Bharadiyar translates Andal's Naickar's poem, Kanakandeen Thodi. I dreamed a dream, my friend. Dream. You see, you have to visualize. If you want to be the Prime Minister of India, not the particular person I'm talking about, if you want to be the Governor of India, if you want to be a leader, then imagine yourself as a leader. Then visualize yourself as a leader. You see? Am I making myself clear? If you want to be a great actor, then you should imagine yourself on stage. If you want to be a public speaker, imagine yourself standing in front of a lectern and addressing through the mic in the presence of hundreds of people and imitating Martin Luther King Jr.'s speech, I have a dream. You do that. Visualize yourself as what you want to be. You see, visualize yourself as what you want to be. And scientifically, I'm giving you very scientific moves. I don't have much time to elaborate on so many things which I have in my mind, but let me here put it in a nutshell. You see, make realistic, actionable, persistent moves. Theater teaches you that. Realistic. You see, you have to be realistic. You should not overnight think about lifting 1,000 pounds, 1,000 kilos. You see, tomorrow, what am I going to do? I am going to read 5 pages. I will continue reading 5 pages. Or in a month, I will lose 5 pounds. I will lose 5 kilos. You fix the realistic and actionable. It should be practicable. You should practice it. Then what will happen? In theater, we experience that in every production. After some time, for example, if there are 45 days or rehearsals, then nearly at 20 or 25th day, we will have some setback. In our mind, psychologically, emotionally, there will be a fatigue in our mind. Why did we ever start it? Will it fructify? Will we be successful? All these questions will haunt. So we must be persistent. It is not enough if you have initiatives. You have to be consistent. Theater teaches you how to design a performance from various angles through discussions, readings, speaking, blocking, acting, designing a production. We understand how to manage our stress. Emotional balance is most important. the most important thing for you to improve your personality. So that kind of perseverance and teamwork, theater always teaches you. Theater does not allow you to inflate. When you visualize yourself of a person whom you want to be, then don't inflate your ego, nor degrade your ego. Ensemble with realistic, actionable, and practicable moves. Be persistent in your attempt. You can definitely do that. Shall I now call for the questions if there are any? If there are any, if there is any question, yeah. You see what is the meaning of the, yes, come. Sir, how to go for a set design? Yes. They have questions in the chat box. I'll go to the chat box. Yes, there is an echo. I cannot help it. If you keep there's some problem at your end. If you keep your mics on, the voice is echoing. You see, sir, how to go for a set design using nature instead of artificial. You see, what you mean is instead of today you have minimalist theater. The minimalist theater doesn't call for elaborate set designing as it is expected of a proscenium arts theater. So what you should do is to use the objects, the things which have significance in the plot structure, functional props. For example, as in a short story, Hemingway would say that if you introduce an air gun in the beginning of a short story, it should go off before the story ends. So whatever is not used in the performance, do not use it. And there is another theater. The theater is expressionistic theater, and there are experimental theaters also, symbolist theaters. For example, Antoine Artaud, he is spelled as Artaud. You see, Antoine Artaud, but actually it is pronounced as, I don't know French, I have heard people pronouncing it that way, Antoine Artaud. Artaud's stage uses just symbols. For example, Artaud asked the famous question, how many trees make a forest? You see, how many trees make a forest? And finally, he brought out the picture of a tree and put it on the stage. That will do. For example, Shakespeare did not have set design. Elizabethan theatre did not have a set design. It was an unlocalized set. Don't you know that? You see the backdrop. Changeable scenery came only in 1725 with the Italianate set design spearheaded by Giacomo Torelli. Till then, all these Shakespearean plays were staged on unlocalized set design. My friends, my dear ones, you see, Shakespeare talk about it was an octagonal open theatre where plays were performed in broad daylight. And Shakespeare would talk about moon, you see, night scenes, witches coming, thunder and lightning, you see. When shall we three meet again? In thunder, lightning, or in the rain? The hurly-burly is done when the battle is fought and won, lost and won. That will be before the set of the sun. You see, Fair is foul and foul is fair. Overthrew the fog and filled the air. Was he using any special effect there? No, not at all. His language was the special effect. As I told you, the voice. So you can have a set design without the realistic props. You need not fell trees, cut ivies, and decorate them on stage. You need not do that. You see, instead of using artificial stage props, you can try the minimalist sets, you see, and you can also use symbolist theater. For example, street theater. Where can we go for set designing in street theater? So you have to create, you can make people visualize the stage, the world in their mind. That is very much possible. That is why I say, that is why Nathan says, that is why Carnegie says, you see, dramatize the visual, dramatize your thoughts, dramatize your dream, make it real, make it real. The next question is, sir, what is your opinion about the statement that actors are born? I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that because all of us are born actors. We are all actors by birth. See the way in which a child behaves to win the sympathy or to get some reward from their parents and elders. See, whenever a guest comes, how dare we call a child, uncle has come, you see, come on, recite the nursery rhyme to him, you see, like a toy. You treat the child like a toy. You see, you call the child, say good morning to uncle, see what uncle and aunt have got you, you see, come on, recite a rhyme, and immediately the child becomes an actor. And the child says, my father is a gentleman, mother is a queen, Johnny is a drummer, Rosie is a dancer, rock up my baby, rock, rock, rock. You see, the child rocks. We were all rocking actors when we were children because we were visualizing, we were trying to communicate. As we grow up, we have been losing some of the finest virtues that we possess, including our breathing. You see, if you want to utter 5 lines in one go, like SPB is singing, you see, then what can you do? There is something called diaphragmatic breathing. You see, when you fill the stomach, you see, if you breathe in, filling you up your chest, then what will happen? Others will know. For example, whenever you are tensed up, you see, breathe in fast and breathe out slowly. You will immediately experience the tension going down. Definitely, you do it now, you can feel it. So on stage, whenever there is a stage fright, many of us are introverts because we want to be left alone. We are not sure of ourselves. Breathe in fast and breathe out slowly. Then if you do this diaphragmatic breathing by puffing up your chest, the other person will know that you are tensed up. So there is another form of diaphragmatic breathing which the child would naturally do. The child does it. You see the sleeping child, its stomach puffs up and goes down. When it breathes in, it inhales, it puffs up its stomach and it keeps the air inside, and then slowly it exhales, lets the air out. So if you consciously breathe in for 4, keep it there for 4 seconds and breathe out for 4 and keep it there for 4 seconds, then your one breath becomes 16 seconds. Do we do that in everyday life? We don't do it. The child does it. But as we grow up, we have forgotten this. So we are all born actors. It is not that actors are born. That is why I say personality can be developed. Acting is a fine medium through which you can develop your personality. You can even become virtuous. Vaadiya payirai kandabodallam vaadineen. That is what Hamlet says. What is Hecuba to him or he to Hecuba? I think I have answered your question briefly. You have my email ID, you have my phone number. Whenever you want to discuss this topic with me to hone your acting skills or to improve your personality, you are most welcome to do so. Now, to the next question by Akash Sharma. You see, Akash Sharma. You see, the first question was also asked by Naickar Sharma. Very glad that some enthusiast is here. You see, sir, in case of filmmaking, does the color plates of the screen matters in story expressing? Yeah. Coloring and colorization is important. For example, you watch Roman Polanski's version of Macbeth. Since you are all literature students, I'm quoting examples from literature. You see, so you watch the coloring and colorization in Macbeth. Colors have a meaning. Even personalities are associated with colors. I don't believe in that. We use color as a metaphor, but certain colors will definitely induce certain feelings to your mind. You watch the opening scene, if not the entire film. You can watch the entire film. Roman Polanski's Macbeth. You see, Roman Polanski's Macbeth. You see, the blue, translucent blue, the dampened feeling it gets, the violent red. You see, Varumayin Niram Sigappu, Balachandar made a film. You say pink of health. In lighting also, you have high key lighting, bright light, low key lighting, dark, dim light. High key lighting is generally used for comedy and low key lighting is used for tragedy. On stage also we use it. And we use high contrast light for thrillers, for ghost stories, so on and so forth. You see? Thanks for this question, Akash Sharma. Now, Kriba Lakshmi asked me, how does one become a theatre artist? Could you suggest any theatre in our state or country to act in? Yes, there are numerous theatre companies, well-respected, reputed companies, professional theatre companies which are there to train the young minds, young actors, very much reliable, very decent people, trained in National School of Drama. I have many of my students who studied in the American college now are both abroad and in India. National School of Drama is a government-sponsored school where you get the entire Indian acting systems, directing systems. Professionals go there. It is difficult not for you. If you are interested, you can get it. You see, after completing your graduation in literature, you can join, you can write the examination and go for selection in National School of Drama. Many of my students have graduated from National School of Drama. You have Mr. Rajesh. Now he runs his own school in Chennai. She was actually the principal of an acting school run by Radhika Sarat Kumar, Radan TV, Radhika Sarat Kumar. The name of the school was Acting is Believing. Acting is Believing. Now, Rajesh is a freelancer trainee, and I can give you his email ID. He's on Facebook. You see, he's a very decent person, family man, and his wife is a college professor who is working in Satyabama University in Chennai. In Chennai, Rajesh is a very famous actor trainer who freelancely trains individual actors also. You have in Coimbatore many schools. For example, the most reputed school in Coimbatore is Sthai Theatre Group, run again by my respected ma'am. You see, What's her name? I'm sorry. You see, she'll be angry if she comes to know that it's writer's block. Sthai Theatre. You see, they are staging. I told you they are staging Hayavadana on 27th. You see, I will post the invitation I will send the invitation to Sakti sir, and he will share the invitation with you. I'm going there on Saturday. 2 days they are performing Sai training school. And in Bangalore, you have a window, you have a branch of exclusively focusing on acting. That is also a highly sponsored institute, a branch of National School Drama. There are many schools. If you just browse, many schools will come. They are all very reputed institutions. They are not hideous, you see. They are well respected, government sponsored, internationally acknowledged institutions. You can go for them. Acting will actually improve your personality. It will never distract you from life. Don't think Kutadi. Kutadi. You see, don't believe in if Kutadi is bad, we are all bad. Because Kutadi is the excellent man who performs, who feels for other human beings. You see, theater is actually a spiritual exercise. So don't have any wrong notions about theater acting. I'm talking about ethical theaters, you see. I'm not talking about certain practices which call themselves as theater. You see, for example, Sai theater, 5W theater, our fourth wall theater, you see, Kaleidoscope. They are all, you have in Salem a very noble person practicing theater. His name is Parthiba Raja. He's also a professor. He's also, if you invite him, he will conduct a workshop. You see, he may be expensive. He may be expensive. You can contact me anytime for that matter. Raja was my student. You see, Rajesh was my student. Thirumalai was my student. You see, you have many schools. You can contact me anytime. Thanks for the question, Kriba Lakshmi. Thanks for the question. Acting is actually, a theater artist can improve. Theater is a way of improving your personality. Right. Ganesh Muthuraman has a question. Is there an age bar for theater aspirants to join NST? Yeah. Yes. You go through the prospectus, like the colleges. You can complete your post-graduation and join. And there are some crash courses offered by National School of Drama, like bridge courses. They offer crash courses. You can join crash courses. You can complete your post-graduation and then join National School of Drama. But if you are above 40, there is an age limit to join National School of Drama. But they also offer crash courses for all age groups. So age is no bar for theater aspirants. Some of the actors can get into the stage or get into movie industry only in their middle age. You see, Ilavukata Kilimari, so many people have been waiting. You see, Nasser sir is very much interested in acting, theater acting. You see, he is a great support to theater artists for my students like Shanmugaraja and Thirumalai. He was there when I conducted a workshop on Shakespearean acting. Even though he had a shooting then, he was listening throughout. During the breaks, he would come and listen. And during the coming back, he was listening in court. So age is no bar for theater aspirants, to put it in a sentence. You can train yourself at any age. All right. Now, Professor, yes.
Vincent speaking.
Yes, sir.
I must congratulate the organizers, the college, on bringing such an eminent speaker for this particular session. He traversed various regions from psychology to literature, both Tamil and English, and also the most loved passion for him being theater, theory and practice. So I congratulate the organizers. I must also congratulate my good friend, Professor Elango. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for coming. Thanks for stepping in. The organizer, your Professor Sakti, says that due to time limit, please write up your questions to the above mentioned mail ID.
No, sir, I'm worried about you. You were talking for hours together.
Yeah, definitely. Certainly. All right. I'm so happy that I stepped in.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, Kanishka.
Okay, guys, can you proceed for the next?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir, for enlightening us with your magnanimous insights in the area of personality development through theatre arts and for answering everyone's questions with utmost patience. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thanks for the invite. I enjoyed the evening. Shall I?
Sir, I should utter some few words. Sir. I really feel blessed for listening to your class after a long time.
I too am blessed. You see?
Yes, sir. I thought I would be showered with some literature, but it is a real torrent.
Thank you so much.
It was
Good participants. Your students are very enthusiastic, very encouraging. You see, you should know that I must be grateful to you for giving me an opportunity to lead the young minds. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Can I leave the meeting?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you once again, all of you. Thank you. I enjoyed the evening.
I also thank the participants from various colleges, especially the eminent speakers and the senior professors for accepting our invitation and participating in this event. Thank you so much, sirs and ma'am. Yes, ma'am, you can proceed then. That's it, right?
To deliver the vote of thanks, I now call upon Jeshma from First BA English.
A lovely and warm evening to all. It is a matter of pride to me in proposing the vote of thanks. On behalf of the team, I first of all spread my sincere thanks to the Lord Almighty. I want to thank our chief guest, Mr. Elango, who gave his vital time from his schedule to grace this evening. I also extend a huge thanks to the principal, Dr. Brinda, and the vice principal for their ideas and efforts. I would like to thank our HOD, Dr. Bharati, who is a support to all of us. I need to mention my deepest sense of appreciation to all the faculty members, staffs, and coordinators for the enormous cooperation. Once again, I thank one and all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jeshma. I express my heartfelt gratitude to each and everyone for attending this workshop. Thank you and have an ecstatic evening.
So organizers, you can stay for a few minutes. I'll be back.